We live in a culture that has normalized the unspoken relationship. It is an era of ambiguous statuses, hidden intentions, and romantic connections that exist almost entirely in a gray area where no one has to be responsible for anyone else. Yesterday, we watched a man calculate the cost of a legacy. When the nearer kinsman realized that redeeming the family land meant also taking a widow from Moab as his wife, he realized the price was too high. He handed over his rights and walked away. The moment that space was vacated, Boaz moved to fill it. He didn't ask for time to think it over or suggest a private trial period. Boaz understood that for Ruth to have a future, his intentions couldn't stay between the two of them in the dark. For her to be truly secure, his word had to be anchored in a place where it could never be taken back. In ancient Bethlehem, the city gate was the center of everything. It served as the courthouse and the public record. If you wanted a promise to be permanent, you brought it here, in front of the elders, where every word was noted by witnesses. To finalize the agreement, Boaz followed the custom of the time. He took off his sandal and handed it to the other man. It was a tangible, unmistakable sign that a contract was sealed, a gesture that said, "I am stepping into this responsibility, and it is now legally mine." Now this was the custom in former times in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. A man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel. Boaz used that moment to declare his intent with absolute clarity. He publicly accepted the financial burden of the land, and in the same breath claimed the honor of making Ruth his wife. He turned to the crowd and said, "Ye are witnesses this day." By calling on the elders and the people, Boaz was essentially burning the bridge back to his old single life. There was no fine print, no hidden conditions. By bringing his heart to the city gate, Boaz ensured that Ruth's new life was as solid as the stones beneath his feet. He showed that when a man truly values a woman, he seeks the accountability of the light. Compare that ancient gate to the situationships of today, those connections where you're never quite sure if you are a partner or just a secret. If a relationship cannot be clearly explained to your family or your community, it lacks the very thing Boaz provided for Ruth: protection. We have to consider the order of these events. Boaz established the covenant at the gate before he sought the intimacy of a home. Ambiguity breeds a specific kind of exhaustion. When you're kept in a state of unspoken commitment, you are forced to carry the weight of wondering if you are a priority to be prized or a convenience to be managed. That constant, quiet questioning is what eventually starts to erode your sense of worth. It is difficult to feel like the virtuous woman Boaz described when you are being treated like a temporary option. Boaz sets a standard that rejects those shadows. He reminds us that God's design for your life involves clarity and honor, not confusion. It is better to wait for the partner who is willing to stand at the gate for you than to settle for someone who only wants to meet you in the dark. Remember, you were made for the light. Demand the kind of commitment that isn't afraid of witnesses. Tomorrow, we see what happens when that kind of honorable love finally reaches its fulfillment and the surprising legacy it leaves behind.